Welcome to Dare to be Seen, brought to you by Elyssa Vulpes Productions and EDN Publishing. Join our host, Elisa Di Napoli, aka Elyssa Vulpes, author, artist coach, and singer-songwriter, as she engages in down-to-earth, insightful, and inspiring conversations with female indie singer-songwriters, composers, and musicians. We shall discuss the lessons and personal stories of women who dare to be seen, scratching beneath the surface to explore challenging truths, forge deeper connections, and foster personal transformation. Get inspired, share your gifts, and if you enjoy the show, spread the word by subscribing and reviewing it. And now, let's get started.
Welcome to Dare to be Seen. My name is Elisa Di Napoli, aka Elyssa Vulpes, and today we are going to be talking about how to vanquish procrastination. Now, before we get started on this topic, here's a wee promotional message. If you are an artist who needs to find a way forward, get your project going, or figure out how to turn your creative, artistic, or performance skills to a new venture, I'd like to invite you to go to tinyurl.com/dare to kickstart, where you can book a free Kickstart Your Project session with me. In this session, you will get reconnected to your vision, uncover exactly where you're stuck, come up with practical next steps so you feel fired up to start your creative projects. Just head on over to tinyurl.com/dare to kickstart. Hello and welcome to another episode of Dare to be Seen. Today we talk about how to vanquish your nose and overcome procrastination. Now, if you have ever had an idea and you immediately wrote down the heart of it, thinking, oh, I can't wait to start with this. But then a week later, the idea is still there and you are feeling guilty because you haven't really done anything with it. This is a fear of beginning, and what you are doing is you are saying no to starting the project. Or maybe it's that you have had the most amazing idea for a song, and in a burst of energy, you've started with some lines or perhaps with some chords. And then over the next few days, you write 3 or 2 great verses or progressions, and then suddenly you hit a wall. Nothing. Suddenly it feels like there's a million other things that you think you should do, and these things take priority over the song. And what is actually happening is that you have hit a wall with the writing of the song, but you don't want to admit it. In reality, you are afraid of completing, and you are saying no to the finished work. Or perhaps you have started a submission for a grant and you thought, yes, this is a great opportunity for me. It's exactly what I need to do to get my show on the road. And the submission closing date is weeks out when you read the notice the first time. But now it's 2 days before the final deadline and you haven't done anything, right? Well, this is fear of rejection, and you are saying no so that you avoid the possibility that your work might be rejected, not considered, or thought as not good enough. And in each of these scenarios, you are procrastinating. You are saying to yourself, no, I'm not doing this. And as a result, of course, you're staying stuck, you're not moving forward. Now, what I suggest we do is start to examine this self-imposed no a little bit more closely to really understand what the consequences of the no's are and the possible benefits. The possible benefits that are perhaps hidden behind excuses so that you can move past these excuses and return to a mindset that is productive. Now, let's look at the first scenario. In the first scenario, you are really saying no before you even get started. Because if you think about it, if you never start, nothing can be produced. And in the second, you are saying no to finishing the project. And you are denying yourself the satisfaction of completing. And in the last one, you are clearly avoiding rejection. So in all of these cases, procrastination is keeping you safe, is keeping you safe from putting your work into the world and facing the consequences. So I guess the question is, well, why would you say no to yourself in this way? Why would you not want your work out into the world? Isn't making a difference what you desire? Your mind can become an obstacle. Your ego, the fearful ego, that's trying to protect you. But at what cost? So, for example, you may be thinking, well, what will people think? What if they realize that I am not the musician or artist or writer than I think I am? What if my submission is rejected? What if my song is ignored? What if I'm not good enough? So, what does this telling ourselves no do for you? What do you think you're getting out of it? What is the underlying benefit? Well, if you never write that song, nobody is ever gonna hear it. Nobody can say it's a bad song. Nobody can say, meh, it's really mediocre. Don't like it. It will just remain this beautiful, untouched idea in your head, full of potential, and you get to keep that for yourself, untarnished. If you never finish the project, the novel, the short story, the painting, well, it remains in this world of possibility. It's shelved over there, waiting. And now we are protected from judgment and possible rejection. So the benefit really is that we are now safe. But the problem is that if we follow up with this no, if we keep saying no, and we stop ourselves from putting this work into the world, well, safety becomes not so satisfying because we have denied ourselves that pleasure of actually having our song, our novel, our story welcomed, liked. We deny the light of day to our creation. We deny ourselves feedback that may make us a better artist. We deny ourselves the satisfaction of simply putting our work out there and knowing that we've done our best and that's good enough. So, what I would invite you to do now is to actually examine your procrastination so that you can unpack what the saying no is actually doing for you, the secondary benefit. And so what I invite you to do is to actually state the concern you have. So, for example, asking yourself, what is it that I'm procrastinating on? And then using 3 questions. So the first question is, what will happen if I don't finish this project? What am I going to lose? And what am I going to gain? The second question is, what will happen if I do finish this project? What's the best possible outcome? What's the worst possible outcome? And then third, I would ask, how can I move from a mindset of no to a yes mindset so that I can put my world out there into the world. So, for example, let's use the case of avoiding putting out a song to be considered for a playlist. Okay, well, if I don't put this song in on time, say there's a deadline for this, well, I will have missed the opportunity for my song to be considered. If I don't submit it at all, well, of course, I'm not going to get rejected. I don't have to face this possibility, and I don't have to feel anxious while I'm waiting for a response. The answer to the second question, which was, what will happen if I finish this project? What's the best outcome? What's the worst possible outcome? Well, if I submit my song, of course, the best outcome is success. My song gets accepted. But then there might be a problem with that. Maybe I'm afraid that my song will be judged, will be seen and criticized. Or maybe it could be that the song won't be accepted and the rejection will be so hurtful, it will discourage me from working on another song. Now, how do I move from this no mindset to a yes mindset? Well, if I don't put this song forward, then I am absolutely 100% guaranteed that I will get a no. If I do put that song out there and it doesn't get accepted, well, that does not necessarily mean my work is not valuable or not worth it. It might just be that it's not the right playlist. It's not the right place to put it forward. And if the rejection comes with a comment, a critique, well, that's good feedback because it will give me an opportunity to look at the work and perhaps improve on it and maybe submit again. Or I could realize that I don't have to take on board this feedback because it's not applicable. So rejection is really a part of being an artist. And if I accept that I will get rejected a million times and that that's just part of the process, it doesn't mean anything about me or my art, it's good feedback, it's data, then my ego's grip on the outcome can loosen up a little and we can move towards the possibility of eventual acceptance. But without attaching the outcome to our self-esteem. So in other words, whether the work gets accepted or not has got nothing to do with whether I am or I am not good enough. The most important thing is that I do my best with the work. And if I do that, that will be a success. That's going to be good enough. Now, another thing that I would suggest is to really have a look at how telling yourself no is actually making you very unproductive. So you could state your concern and then turn it into its flip side. So I'll give you an example. You could say to yourself, well, this playlist has got a really low acceptance rate. Not many songs get accepted. My song will probably not make it. So why bother at all? Well, you could turn that around to, I'm a good songwriter, I believe in my work, and I'm saying yes to this opportunity. But I let go of the outcome. Whatever happens, I embrace that outcome. I will either be really happy and delighted that my song has been accepted, or I will simply learn from the experience and perhaps get accepted next time or in the next playlist. Either way, I am moving forward. So taking the time to examine what saying no is actually doing to your work, whether it helps you move forward or whether it hinders you, is the starting point. And then I would invite you to actually create an affirmation to bolster your courage, to flip that around, to empower yourself. So in other words, you're moving from a limiting, stopping belief to a empowering belief. Now, I use this all the time in coaching sessions with my clients. And often I use it with clients that respond to a lot of my suggestions with a yes, 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 but this. Yes, 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 but that. And the yes, but response. And so what they're really doing is saying no, but disguising it as a yes, but. So if you find yourself doing that, I would encourage you to use the 3 questions. Once again, the questions are, what will happen if I don't finish the project? What am I going to lose? And what am I going to gain? What will happen if I do complete it? What's the best possible outcome? What's the worst possible outcome? And then how can I move from a mindset of no to a mindset of yes? Now, if you use this technique again and again, it can really become a way to overcome procrastination on your own, because you understand the questions and you then jump from stating what you're concerned about to turning it into an empowering affirmation. And in this way, you can move forward with your work. In other words, what you learn to do is to look behind the behavior to the function this behavior has in your life. And this works really well with all kinds of habits. Every habit that you have has a reason for its existence. The important thing is to not judge yourself for it, but instead, putting the judgment aside for a moment, look at the function this habit has. We are always trying to help ourselves. It's just that sometimes the strategy is dysfunctional. We might have learned the strategy at some point in our life and it might have made sense at the time, but now things have changed and it makes no sense. But it always has a reason for existing. So by asking ourselves, what is the function of this no? What is it doing for me? You learn to uncover the reason why this behavior is there in the first place. And then you can decide whether you want to keep this or whether you want to replace it with a better habit, a better behavior that actually does a better job for you. So give it a go and let me know how this has worked to vanish your procrastination. Leave us a message on the show notes. There's a link and you can record your message and you can also ask any questions you may have. I hope this has been helpful for you and see you again next week.
That's all for this episode of Dare to Be Seen. Join the conversation on daretobeseencommunity.com and help us create an empowering community of independent female singer-songwriters, composers, and musicians who support one another. For show notes, resources, and information on today's episode, visit daretobeseenpodcast.com. And remember, shine your own unique light onto the world. It needs it.